coronavirus killing people or putting people in the hospital.
There are a lot of people who are convincible, who are able to be convinced to get that third dose.
Hi, I'm Brian from High Impact Flicks. I watch and edit CIA-infiltrated Operation Mockingbird lamestream MK Ultra media, so you don't have to.
You're welcome.
Here are some of their highlights from this past week that they really want you to know. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer or anything, but you're going to get this virus.
If you are unvaccinated, you will get COVID.
Most people are going to get COVID. Most people are going to get the virus.
Omicron will ultimately find just about everybody.
You will acquire this virus. It's just a matter of time.
Most people are going to get COVID because I think that is something that everyone has kind of recognized since the Omicron variant came out, and as contagious as it is.
Omicron's going to find just about everyone.
People ask me all the time, hey Brian, do you really use that keto elevate stuff, and does it really work? The answer is yes and yes. Never in my entire life have I lost body fat so quickly. Not even in my prime at 25, which is over 25 years ago. I'm approaching 54 this year. If you want to support the channel and do your health a favor, grab some with my link in the description. To start off with, the big farm guys got some exciting news.
Some important words today from the CEO, both of Pfizer and Moderna. Both CEOs saying they're working on Omicron-specific vaccines.
Pfizer says that they should, by March, have an Omicron-specific vaccine, and Moderna says that they will be going into clinical trials soon.
Now, never mind the lessons that history teaches us that, excluding wars, over 270 million people have died at the hands of governments that those people trusted. And that's just in the last century alone. What you gotta understand is that Biden just wants to protect people from death.
What the president's trying to do is protect the country, protect people from death.
See? Protecting from death. That's definitely the government's job.
And they're so good at it.
Now, you guys know me. I really love listening to the scientists and Jen Circleback Psaki.
As we listen to the scientists,
what I hear the scientists saying is that you're gonna get this thing.
Omicron, with its extraordinary, unprecedented degree of efficiency of transmissibility, will ultimately find just about everybody.
But if they think that it's an inevitability that most people are going to get it, then in some respects it sort of destroys the incentive to do what you can to protect yourself.
I mean, you're definitely going to get it.
Most people are going to get COVID because I think that is something that everyone has kind of recognized since the Omicron variant came out, and as contagious as it is.
Omicron's going to find just about everyone.
It's clear that it's spreading like wildfire, and all of us know friends and family who have it.
It's just a matter of time. You will acquire this virus. It's just a matter of time.
Those who are still unvaccinated are going to get the brunt of the severe aspect of this.
Don't question it. Don't resist the programming. It's gonna happen.
So many people have it that I think the right assumption is that you have it until you can get tested.
If you are unvaccinated, you will get COVID.
And the more they say it, the more likely it is to become a reality.
Most people are going to get COVID. Most people are going to get the virus.
It's gonna find you.
Omicron will ultimately find just about everybody.
Most people are going to get COVID.
Omicron's going to find just about everyone.
Now, as with any good piece of television programming, we always want to pivot our language.
And what we really are working to do is pivot the language to make sure that everybody is as up to date with their COVID-19 vaccines as they personally should be based on when they got their last vaccine. So importantly, right now, we're pivoting our language. We really want to make sure people are up to date. That means if you recently got your second dose, you're not eligible for a booster, you're up to date. If you are eligible for a booster and you haven't gotten it, you're not up to date, and you need to get your booster in order to be up to date.
Is it a matter now of when, not if, the definition of fully vaccinated changes?
You know, my own personal opinion, Kate, is what you said is correct. It's going to be a matter of when, not if.
Remember, only 75% of all Americans are fully vaccinated. Or is it 62%?
75% of the country is fully vaccinated.
The unvaccinated are at higher risk of more severe disease and the like. And yet, if you look at the data, the percentage of Americans who are fully vaccinated, it's been hovering around 62% forever.
75%.
62%. I mean, it's just been a stagnant flat line. Why is it not breaking through that getting a vaccine and getting boosted at least protects you from severe illness?
75, 62, who cares? What you really need to know is that you're 17 times more likely to be hospitalized and 20 times more likely to die if you don't become a paying customer of the big farm guy.
You are 17 times more likely to be hospitalized and 20 times more likely to die if you are not vaccinated.
And there's also this, which reinforces what everyone knows by now. New data showing COVID hospitalizations are nearly 50 times higher among unvaccinated seniors compared to those who've been vaccinated and boosted.
It's important to get those booster shots to protect you from Omicron.
Everyone should get a booster, ages 12 and up.
We do know that people who are vaccinated are still protected about 70% against infection, especially if they're boosted. So the people who are ending up in the hospital, the people who are ending up very sick with Omicron are the ones who are unvaccinated.
Relatively few people have been boosted. Only about a third of people who are vaccinated and eligible for boosters have actually gotten boosters.
The data paints a pretty clear picture of how crucial boosters are, protecting people far better against this particular variant than just the 2-dose regimen. The reports showing that those with booster shots offer a better chance for staying out of the hospital if they become infected.
Boosters were 90% effective at preventing hospitalizations, and the 2 shots were only 57% effective, and that's looking at 88,000 hospitalizations in 10 states. Now let's look at booster effectiveness at preventing Omicron ER and urgent care visits. They looked at 200,000 visits in 10 states. Boosters were 82 effective, 2 shots, just 38% effective. Now, lastly, let's look at booster effectiveness at preventing Omicron illness, just from getting sick with Omicron. So they looked at 13,000 cases. They found that the odds of becoming sick with Omicron were 66% lower than for people who had a booster versus 2 shots.
That brings us to the children. Our loving overlords want you to know that they think about your kids every day.
Dr. Anthony Fauci said he hopes a COVID vaccine for children under 5 will be available perhaps as soon as a month from now. There are nearly 20 million people in this country under the age of 5. Many of their parents have reached a new level of desperation.
You're desperate out there, aren't you, parents?
We are obviously much closer now to the young children getting vaccinated. Than we've ever been. There is good news. Even though people had hoped for the vaccine to be earlier, that's still good news coming from Dr. Fauci that it is on its way.
There is a knife hanging over our heads, as there is for every parent of a kid under 5. The text alert will come or the phone will ring with a call from school, an exposure, a symptom. Come get them, stay home.
And the cases? Oh, let me tell you about the cases.
The healthcare system is teetering. Nearly 1 in 4 hospitals report critical staffing shortages.
Take a look at the cases in this country going up since the end of December. John, you and I have talked about this map many times over the past 2 years. I don't think we've ever seen it this red. So many states, dark red, 10 states, a slightly lighter shade of red, but that still means very, very high case counts. Georgia's grayed out because they're having some data issues.
Hospitals throughout the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast are filled with COVID patients. And not just filled with COVID patients, they're just filled with patients.
In some hospitals that we've talked to, up to 40% of the patients who are coming in with COVID are coming in not because they're sick with COVID, but because they're coming in with something else.
There's red everywhere.
It's far too much red on that map. That map you just showed, 50 states. Georgia would be red if they had the data fixed. 50 states heading in the wrong direction.
We have, maybe 50 million people who are vaccine naive right now, and this is an incredibly contagious virus. When I walk out of my hospital every evening and walk to my garage, I walk past a packed bar. And there's just this incredible sort of cognitive dissonance in our society.
And just to remind everyone, here are the rules about boosters in the United States, because they sort of changed around for a while last fall. So the rules are, the recommendations are, I should say, that everyone should get a booster, ages 12 and up, and that you get them 5 months after your second shot. However, less than half of those who are eligible for boosters have gotten boosters, and only 0.25% of the total population is fully vaccinated and boosted. Should the CDC be changing the definition of fully vaccinated from 2 doses to 3?
And what video would be complete without an ominous, non-big pharma sponsored segment from the Carrot Lady?
Dr. Wen, the first CDC study is really out, really showing information, concrete data about how vaccines are holding up against the Omicron variant. Real data, concrete data saying that boosters, they are key to keeping people out of the hospital.
These new studies should erase any doubt about the importance of boosters at this point in the pandemic. I think there's been, unfortunately, so much muddled messaging that made it sound like boosters are a nice to have rather than something that's really essential. But these studies show definitively that boosters reduce illness and the chance of contracting COVID and therefore being able to give it to others. They also, very importantly, protect against hospitalization and severe illness, severe enough to cause you to go into the ER and to be in the hospital. And so I think it's time for us to change our policies. It's time for us to acknowledge that the COVID-19 vaccine is at least a 3-dose vaccine, and I wish that's something that the FDA and CDC will very quickly revise in their definition. I actually think that it will be easier to convince people to get boosters than to convince those people who are still unvaccinated to get their first shots. Think about the individuals, the adults, who remain unvaccinated. At this point, the majority of them, it'll be very, very difficult to change their minds. But if people got their initial 2 doses, there are a lot of people who are convincible, who are able to be convinced to get that 3rd dose.
There are a lot of people who are convincible, who are able to be convinced to get that 3rd dose.
If they get the accurate information, which is something that we as a medical community, and in particular, I hate to say this, but the Biden administration, and in particular the CDC, they've had a lot of mixed messaging. Actually, the Biden White House with Dr. Fauci and Dr. Francis Collins and others were correct back in August when they said that they believed everybody should be getting a booster shot starting that September. If getting the booster dose is what allows everybody to move on with their lives, I think those who are vaccinated are ready to hear that message.
Guys, thanks for watching this video. If you get something out of this content, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know, and don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com, and also subscribe to me on my alternate channels. All those links will be in the description and in the pinned comment. If you want to support the channel further, the Patreon and Subscribe Star links are also below, or grab one of those hard-hitting conversation designs that you can put on any shirt, hoodie, mug, hat, whatever you want. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video. Hey guys, we know with the way things have been going, it can get really interesting really quick. So make sure you and your family have a long-term storable food supply. Support the channel and get $50 off with my link in the description while you still can.